Hello everyone, students and adults alike. We are so glad that you're here with us today. We are going to be doing a set of videos again, special videos on prayer. Our church is in a time, 3 days of prayer and fasting. And so we just really want to look at, even during this time, kind of some guides, I guess, for how to pray during this time. And so I just want to kick it off by reading this passage from Deuteronomy, which is probably very familiar to us, especially if this is your home church. We use this passage a lot for baby dedications when we dedicate kids. But I just want you to listen here to Deuteronomy 6, verse 5. It's talking about our love for God. And it says, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength." The verse goes into like impress this on your children and things like that. But it's that verse 5 that is so crucial. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. What do you think about that?
Yeah, and it's interesting because I feel this what I'm about to read is from Revelations 2, and it ties so well with that, but it's also something that God has been just speaking to me over and over and over again over the last couple of months, actually. And I think it's, first of all, personal. It's something that I need to really remember. But then also, I think it can transfer into the church and into our country, actually. And I'm just going to read it, and you guys can see if you agree with me. Revelations 2:4 says this, "But I have this against you, that you have abandoned the love you had at first." Verse 5 says this, "Look how far you have fallen. Turn back to me and do the works you did at first." And this whole idea of you've abandoned the love you had at first, I don't know how many of you have been in relationships or ever, thought you fell in love or anything like that, but, those of us who have, there's this thing of just totally all-consuming love and excitement for that person and infatuation with them. And I just think about a boy and a girl who have just met and they've just realized they both like each other, and they want to spend every second of every day with each other. They stay up extra late, even if they have to work in the morning. They're like, I'm going to stay up till 3 in the morning just on the phone with this person because I just can't get enough of them. And I'm going to wake up early and go for breakfast with them, even though I normally don't get up till 10. I'm going to get up at 6 and go for breakfast with this person before they go to work, because I just need to spend every waking moment with them because we're so excited. And when I hear that first love, that's what I think of. Come back to that first love that you had for the Lord. And I mean, for myself, I became a Christ follower when I was 18 years old. And I remember I was out at prayer meetings, I was going to young adults, I was helping out at the youth group, and it was like I was at the church and with people, church-wise, 4 nights a week, 5 nights a week, and it was like I couldn't wait to get back with those people so that we could spend time worshiping God, praying to God, spending time together with God.
Yeah, it's almost like this thing that just can never be satisfied. Like you could just spend hours and hours and you're just like, I still feel like I need to be with that person more.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's how it was a lot of the time when you first become a Christian, when you first start out that relationship with Jesus, it becomes this like, I can't get enough of him. And I love how that passage says, like, return to that. Yeah. Go back to it. You were there at one time.
That's right. Come
back to it.
Yeah.
And it makes me think of this passage here in 2 Chronicles 7. And it says, "If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land." And he says they're like, pray, seek my face, turn from their wicked ways. It's this sense of like turning from, like if you're going to turn from something, you have to turn towards, and it's that turning back to God.
Yeah, and I kind of think about, like, for my own life, and probably for most of us, I think all of us can get distracted. And I think sometimes we almost it's like when that passion for God is first ignited, he's on like the front burner, and it's like on high, and it's like hot and bubbly, and if you touched it, you would burn yourself. But then after a while, you can end up putting him on the back burner, and it's just warming, and it's not really doing anything back there. It's almost like with God, he's no longer at the forefront of my mind. I've pushed him to the back, and I think that we can get into trouble. I think about Hosea and Gomer and chapter 2, where Gomer, like, she's a wreck. She is a mess. Sometimes I'm a wreck. Sometimes I'm a mess, especially when I'm not focusing on God and pressing into God. And you know, the first half of chapter 2 of Hosea, God's like, I'm going to cut her off from this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And it's all like this punishment and this like, whoa, like that's really harsh. And then we get to chapter 2:14, and this is one of my favorite things in the whole Bible. And it says this, but then I will win her back once again. I will lead her into the desert and speak tenderly to her there. I will return her vineyards to her and transform the valley of trouble, that place of trouble that we can get stuck in, into a gateway of hope. It is not hopeless. She will give herself to me there, and as she did long ago when she was young, and when I freed her from her captivity in Egypt. And this whole picture again of coming back to that youthful first love. That's what we need to get back to with God. If we've strayed away to sin, if we've become complacent, if we've, whatever it is, put him on the back burner, we actually do, like you said, have to humble ourselves, repent, and come back to that first love.
Yeah, so if, you know, Jen, for the people who are watching, what is our call to prayer right now then? In light of this, in light of what we've discussed, what are we calling ourselves and those who are listening, what are we calling them to pray for, I guess, during this time? What would you say to that?
Yeah, I would say, I think it's time for us to get on our knees, humble ourselves, and like you said in 2 Chronicles, seek God, repent. And when we say repent, you guys, it's that idea of turning away from wickedness. And that wickedness for some of us might not necessarily be this big, huge, whoa, I really, really messed up and whatever, murdered somebody. But it can be something as simple as putting God on the back burner. Because that's actually not okay. It's actually a sin to have other things before God. And so I think that we do. I think that we need to just get on our knees before God and go, Lord, would you lead me to that place again? Would you bring me into the desert and speak tenderly to me, just like he does here in Hosea 2?
I love that. I love that. On that note, we'll end off this video, but I would just encourage you, after this is done, take time and pray over those things that Jen just said. Like, pray that our hearts would be fully devoted to God and that we would turn from our wicked ways, repent, and seek his face.
That's good. Cool. See you guys tomorrow.
Love ya.
Bye.